Hello and welcome to episode number 126, where I'm going to be discussing natural Ayurvedic pain relievers. I'm going to cover backaches, arthritis, headaches, menstrual pain, toothaches, and so much more. And we're going to use ingredients that you can find in your own home. So please stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm your host, Colette, and in this podcast, I hope to empower you to take charge of your own health by sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. We will also discuss topics like health and wellness, nutrition, yoga, fitness, meditation, breath work, and much more, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to each other. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the show, and the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. If you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend you listen to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. I've also set up a Facebook group for us to connect and to support each other, and I'd love for you to join me over at Elements of Ayurveda podcast group. And now, here's the show. Hi there, and welcome back to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. I hope you're doing well and staying safe and healthy wherever you are, as we're all dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the reason I wanted to do this episode today on natural pain relievers is because of the conflicting reports around the use of anti-inflammatory drugs, and in particular ibuprofen, during the COVID-19 pandemic. On March 17th, the World Health Organization recommended that people suffering from COVID-19 symptoms avoid taking ibuprofen, after French officials warned that anti-inflammatory drugs could worsen the effects of the virus. The warning by the French health minister, Olivier followed a recent study in the Lancet Medical Journal that hypothesized that an enzyme boosted by anti-inflammatory drugs such as ibuprofen could facilitate and worsen the COVID-19 infection. Now, on March 18th, the World Health Organization said, based on currently available information, the World Health Organization does not recommend against the use of ibuprofen. So I'm not here to comment on that, not my scope of practice, but what I want to do in this episode is to give you some natural alternatives using ingredients that you may already have in your home to help you relieve pain. Now, a couple of things before I get started. These natural pain relievers are just that, to aid in relieving pain. However, they do not get to the root of the issue. So if you have a serious condition, I recommend reaching out to a professional to look at your particular condition and to determine the root cause of your condition. Also, if you're on any other medication, please check with your health professional first before implementing even natural solutions like this. For example, if you're taking blood thinners, you may want to avoid turmeric. So this is something where you really need to check with your doctor first. The advice that I give today is general advice, and I always recommend getting professional advice tailored to you, and especially if you have a serious condition. So I reached out to the members of the Elements podcast Facebook group and asked them what type of pain they would like me to cover. And that's what I'm going to answer today. So here we go. The first post was from Aurora, and she said headaches and menstrual pain would be incredibly helpful. Okay, Aurora, so let's take a look at headaches first. It's important to determine the underlying cause of the headache, as it may be kapha, pitta, or a vata type headache. Now, first of all, let me explain the different types of headaches. So a kapha type headache will have a dull pain, or perhaps it will be a sinus headache. Springtime, which we're in the northern hemisphere now, can be a typical time to experience these types of headaches, as it's cough season and allergy season. So here are some tips. If it's a dull headache and not related to the sinuses, then I suggest making a paste, taking half a teaspoon of ground ginger powder and just enough water to make a paste, and apply it to your forehead for about 30 minutes. Be careful, right, not to touch your eyes during this process because that ginger powder will sting. But leave it on the forehead for about 30 minutes. You may notice a slight burning from the ginger powder, which will subside, so don't worry about that. Then wash it off after 30 minutes. Now, if it's more of a sinus headache, then how you can tell this is when you're seated, lower your chest to your thighs and let your head hang down. If you feel a lot of pressure around your sinuses, then it's usually a good indicator that it's a sinus headache. So in this case, I recommend doing some nasal irrigation with a neti pot to unclog the sinuses with an eighth of a teaspoon of salt, some filtered water, and then pouring it in one nostril and letting it flow out the other, and then doing the same with the opposite nostril. So nasal irrigation really important if you have a sinus headache. We want to clear out those sinuses. And then you can make a paste with half a teaspoon of cinnamon powder and water and apply it to the area. So maybe it's going to be the bridge of the nose or along the cheekbones. Let it sit for about 30 minutes and then wash it off. So another tip to relieve a cough type headache is using eucalyptus oil, the essential oil. You could add it to your bath or diffuse it in an oil diffuser in your home, or you could fill up a sink or bowl with hot water and add about 7 drops of eucalyptus oil into that bowl or sink, and then put your head over the hot steamy water, cover your head with a towel, and just inhale that eucalyptus steam. Eucalyptus oil is an anti-inflammatory and a decongestant, and so very clearing for the sinuses. Now, if you're adding that oil to your bath, you want to add it to a carrier oil first, like coconut oil or olive oil or whatever oil you have at home, and then add about, 7 drops into your bath, and that could be really helpful as well. For a cough-style headache, you want to avoid cough-aggravating foods during this time. Foods like heavy, creamy comfort foods that are cold, raw, and oily. Avoid too much of the sweet taste, even though I know cough loves the sweet taste, but not a good idea during this time. Really avoiding processed foods with lots of additives and preservatives, and of course avoiding refined sugars, avoiding dairy and red meats, as they can be very hard for you to digest. Do some gentle movement like yoga would be really great. I would avoid inversions. Walking in nature to get the blood and the lymph moving and preventing stagnation will also help. So really important for kapha to get up and out and to get moving and to get that blood moving and circulation, which will help pump the lymph around the body as well. Some energizing yoga breath could be good. A mild energizing breath would be like deep belly breathing, like the Ujjayi breath in yoga, or you could do Brastrika breath, which is the bellows breath. So really deciding what feels best to you. I do have that pranayama tutorial video that I will link in the show notes for you, so you can get instructions on how to do those breath practices. Now, a pitta type headache has sharp, intense pain and usually comes with a sensitivity to light or maybe a burning sensation or painful sensation around the eyes. A person may also experience dizziness with a pitta type headache. Now for this, I recommend making a tea of coriander seeds. So you take 1 teaspoon of coriander seeds to 1 cup of water, boil it for about 5 minutes, and then allow it to steep for at least 10 minutes, strain and sip on that. That can be really great for a pitta style headache. Aloe vera is really wonderful for calming pitta. So you could either drink aloe vera juice, half a cup twice daily, or take 2 tablespoons of aloe vera gel 3 times per day. Now, you can use an aloe vera plant that you have in your home or garden, as long as it's not sprayed, right, with chemicals. Or you can purchase aloe vera leaves from lots of shops now. I've seen them in Whole Foods in the States. I have them here at my local bio store in France. So you could check that out if they have them in your local store. Also, making a sandalwood paste with half a teaspoon of sandalwood powder, and apply enough water to make a paste and put this on your forehead for 30 minutes. Very cooling. Or if you don't have powder, you could use a sandalwood essential oil and diffuse that in your home. Now, if you don't have access to sandalwood at all, you could take some rose water and soak a washcloth in the rose water. I would recommend that you put it in the fridge so it's nice and cool, and then apply it to the forehead and even around the eye area could be really nice. So the cooling rose water, very cooling for that pitta type headache. Doing a daily Abhyanga oil massage with coconut oil, which is very cooling, can be beneficial, allowing the oil to sit on the skin for 20 minutes before washing it off. Coconut water also can be really beneficial to cool the pitta heat. With pitta, we want to make sure that you're not having any aggravating pitta foods like caffeine, alcohol, spicy foods, salty foods, fried foods, avoiding nightshades and sour foods. And you also want to make sure that you're not doing too much intense activity or going out in the hot midday sun. Instead, opting for more calming activities like a restorative yoga class, and some Shitali cooling breath will be really good to dissipate that pitta heat. And again, instructions for that Shitali cooling breath you'll find on that pranayama tutorial that I'll link to in the show notes. Okay, let's move on to Vata type headaches. So Vata headaches have a migrating quality to them. They may pulsate, the pain is moving, they may be throbbing, and they're usually experienced in the back of the head. So for a Vata type headache, a paste of a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg powder is great. So take a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg in your hand and a little bit of water and apply that paste to the forehead. Allow it to sit there for about 30 minutes and then wash it off. Also make sure that you're well hydrated, as dehydration can definitely cause headaches and Vatas can be prone to dehydration. So adding a pinch of Himalayan pink salt to your water can be beneficial for a Vata type headache or if you have a high Vata constitution. The salt will help hold on to the water in your body. Make sure that your body is lubricated, as Vata tends to dry out when aggravated. So you could do your Abhyanga oil massage every day with sesame oil, allowing that to sit on your skin for about 20 minutes. Also taking some warm ghee, some good quality ghee, melting that and putting about 3 drops of ghee in each nostril to help reduce the dryness. So this could be really good. You want to avoid Vata aggravating foods like cold, raw, dry, light foods. Want to avoid pungent spices, alcohol and caffeine and carbonated drinks. And of course for Vata, you want to avoid too much movement, too much erratic schedules or sensory overload. So slowing down from the usual go-go lifestyle and bringing in some mindfulness practices or some yin or restorative yoga, making sure that you're incorporating some meditation and pranayama. A wonderful pranayama for Vata, and especially when you have a Vata type headache, is alternate nostril breathing. And again, you'll find the instructions for that in that pranayama tutorial in the show notes. So no matter what type of headache you have, and just in general at this time while we're all going through this upheaval to our lives with the COVID-19 pandemic, I really recommend that you're practicing your daily dinacharya, your self-care practices, that you're living in tune with the circadian rhythms. And I've discussed this a lot in previous podcasts, but I also want to let you know that I do have a special discount right now on my Daily Habits for a Holistic Health course. It's a 28-day online self-paced course. It's an affordable way for you to get all this information in one packet. In this 28-day online course, I talk about implementing daily self-care practices that are in tune with the circadian rhythms. We talk about the different mental qualities and how to keep the mind in balance. We'll talk about Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas and how to maintain a balanced mind and keep a calm nervous system. We'll talk about the foundation of Ayurvedic healing and becoming your own healer. And I also talk a lot about the power of positivity, compassion, intuition, and how to nurture these qualities and also how they impact your health and well-being. So I find that a lot of people are looking for this advice right now because they want to know how to structure their day, right? You hear this a lot now. Structure, routine is really important while we're at home and we're all quarantining. Really important to keep a daily structure that are in tune with the circadian rhythms. And this course will help you establish that. It will also help keep your constitution, your doshas in balance to prevent illness and boost immunity. It helps you maintain regularity in your body clock, giving you greater energy. This course will help you aid digestion, aid elimination, and also just bring a sense of calm to your body and mind. So this course will really help promote discipline and give you also the clarity and give you confidence in taking care of yourself at this time. So if you're interested in this discounted course, again, like I said, it's a great way and an affordable way to get all this information in one package. It's self-paced, it's online, easy to access. Just click on the link in the show notes or go to my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. Go to the events tab and then just look for the limited time discount on the Daily Habits course there. Okay, so that's available if you want some help. And now I'm going to move on to answering the second part of Aurora's question. She was looking for natural pain relievers for menstrual pain. Okay, Aurora, so menstrual pain can manifest differently for each dosha type and usually occurs when that particular dosha is aggravated. So for example, Vata menstrual pain may result in spasms or tingling feeling or moving pain, and this can result in the lower abdomen, the lower back, and sometimes even shoot down the thighs. For Pitta menstrual pain, this will tend to be sharp, intense cramps. There may be swelling, especially in the breast, which can lead to breast tenderness. There may be an excess heat in the body around this time, leading to a burning sensation. And this can also lead to headaches and migraines, which I'm going to cover in the next topic. And then Kapha menstrual pain will tend to be more of a dull discomfort and a heavy bloated feeling in the stomach. So let's talk about some pain relieving tips. First of all, I'm going to cover some tips that are tridoshic, that are good for everybody who has menstrual cramps. And then I'll go in to give some specific tips for each dosha type. So for everybody, aloe vera gel is really beneficial. Start taking 1 tablespoon of aloe vera gel or a half a cup of aloe vera juice the week before your cycle is due to start and continue taking it throughout your cycle. During your cycle, eat according to your constitution. And even before your cycle starts, it's a good idea to do this so you can maintain balance and prevent these aggravations. So eating easy digestible foods, getting good rest, avoiding strenuous activity, especially too much intense exercise. So taking it down a notch, walking or some gentle restorative or yin yoga is good. When you're on your cycle, you definitely don't want to do any inversions. That has the energy going the opposite way. So really seeing the days of your cycle as a time to rest and relax and take care of yourself. Sipping on some warm fluids. A fresh ginger tea is really great for each dosha as it has anti-inflammatory properties. Cumin seeds are also great because they have a relaxing effect on the body. They're anti-spasmodic and they're an anti-inflammatory as well. So it's really useful for menstrual cramps. So you can take the cumin seed and make a tea. So that would be 1 teaspoon of whole cumin seeds to 1 cup of water. Boil for about 5 minutes, steep for about 10 minutes and strain and serve. Or you could just take the cumin seeds, a teaspoon of them, dry roast them and chew on those. That can be beneficial also. Now, chamomile tea has pain relieving properties and it really helps to relax the uterus and decrease period pain. So taking some chamomile tea in the evening can be really good. Also, the lovely golden turmeric milk is really beneficial, and adding some nutmeg to that is really good. Turmeric is a natural anti-inflammatory and nutmeg is an anti-spasmodic, and is also a natural sedative. So that's another good bedtime drink. I'll put a link to that recipe in the show notes also. Having a bath can be really good, and using some calming essential oils in the bath. Always when you're putting essential oils in the bath, mix them with a carrier oil first, or you could diffuse oils. So some beneficial essential oils for menstrual pain or discomfort would be clary sage, lavender, chamomile, and geranium. And also applying heat to the lower abdomen with like a hot water bottle or a hot compress can be really beneficial for menstrual pain. Okay, I'm just going to go quickly into some advice for each dosha. So for kapha's dull, heavy discomfort, I would recommend massaging the area of the lower abdomen with a mix of sunflower oil and mustard oil. And mustard oil is a little warming and it can help with kapha discomfort. Warming spices like turmeric, fresh ginger, cinnamon, cumin, and black pepper are really beneficial at this time. So you could add them to your food or have herbal teas. Gentle yoga postures at this time. So for kapha, like a slow flow would be helpful, again, with no inversions. And breath work is really good as well. A Brastrika breath can help to remove any stagnation. That's the bellows breath. And again, you'll find the instructions for that in the pranayama link in the show notes. If that's too much, if the bellows breath feels too much, you could just do the deep belly breathing, the yoga breath that I detail in that tutorial. Now for pitta's sharp, intense, heated pain, you would really benefit from a massage of coconut oil on the lower abdomen. This can really help because coconut oil is very cooling. The sweet taste can also be really good to balance pitta. So you could introduce a sweet taste with like a licorice tea, which is a naturally sweet taste. Although if you have high blood pressure, it's not for you because licorice raises blood pressure. So be careful of that. A rose tea can also be really good because that's really cooling for pitta, along with a fennel tea can be really good to ease any digestive discomfort that comes along with the menstrual cycle. Coconut water is also a very beneficial drink for cooling pitta. Along with gentle restorative yoga, which would be really good, and some Shitali cooling breath can help to eliminate some of that heat. So for Vata's spasm type menstrual pain, you would benefit from a massage on the lower abdomen with some sesame oil. And fenugreek seed is really great for Vata menstrual pain as it's antispasmodic. And adding fenugreek into your food, you could do this by cooking it off in a little ghee for 1 to 2 minutes and then adding it onto your dish during this time can be really beneficial. Calming herbal teas for Vata, which are great, are chamomile, tulsi, or holy basil teas, will be really good. Roasting the cumin and fennel seeds, dry roasting them and chewing on them can be very helpful too. You could even roast them in a little ghee if you wanted. And again, for Vata, restorative yoga practice, no inversions, and you could add some alternate nostril breathing or Nadi Shodhana breath, which is really balancing for Vata. And again, you'll find those instructions in the pranayama tutorial. Thank you, Aurora, for those questions, and I hope those tips are helpful. Okay, so the next request was from Tanzi, and Tanzi was like, migraines. So let me discuss migraines. Well, they can occur from an aggravation of Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. However, migraines are usually associated with a Pitta, Vata imbalance. So if you have an aggravated Pitta dosha, you know that you already have excess heat in the body, and you feel a migraine coming on, a great tip from Dr. Ladd is this preventative breakfast, which is really simple and really effective. You take a ripe banana, you mash it up with 1 teaspoon of warm ghee and 1 teaspoon of date sugar. Now, if you don't have date sugar, just chop up a date, and then you add a pinch of cardamom and eat that. As you can see, this really has a lot of the sweet taste, and the sweet taste is very pacifying for Pitta. So try that if you feel a migraine coming on and you know you have an aggravated Pitta dosha. Now, if you have an aggravated Vata or Kapha dosha and you feel a migraine coming on, you could take 2 tablespoons of dried ginger, ground ginger, into some water and drink that. That is said to be very beneficial. And then once the pain has developed, you could melt some good quality ghee. By good quality, I mean organic grass-fed ghee. And then take that melted ghee and add 2 to 3 drops of the ghee to each nostril, which is very beneficial for migraine pain. Drinking lots of water, staying well hydrated. Fennel seed water is also really good. So boiling a tablespoon of fennel seeds in 2 cups of water, allowing it to sit for about 10 minutes and cooling, and then sipping on that. Also, you could apply the nutmeg paste or the sandalwood paste I'd mentioned earlier. For nutmeg, you're using a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg with a little bit of water to form the paste. And with sandalwood, it's a 1/2 teaspoon of sandalwood powder with a little bit of water, and apply that to the forehead for about 30 minutes. Cooling pranayama can really help as well, like the Shatali cooling breath, especially if you have a pitta imbalance. And yoga postures can be helpful, like a standing forward bend or child's pose, doing some cat-cow, a seated forward fold, a gentle spinal twist. Downward facing dog could help, and corpse pose or shavasana can be really good also. But never forcing your body during this time, really listening to your body and what your body needs and being gentle with it. Of course, with the vata, we want to make sure that we're balancing vata by routine. So if you're feeling migraines coming on or you're susceptible to them, making sure you have a routine of waking, sleeping, eating times, really important to calm that vata dosha. During a time where you're getting migraines, keeping the diet really simple, easy digestible foods that are warm, cooked with good fats like ghee, and simple foods like soups. Would be really beneficial at this time, avoiding the caffeine, the alcohol, the really pungent spices. So I hope that helps, Tansy. Okay, the next request is from Joe, and Joe wants to know about sciatic nerve. I've always found yoga hip openers to be the most beneficial, but what other options are available? Thank you so much, Colette. You are welcome, Joe. So let me see if I can offer you some tips today. Let me explain a bit about sciatica. Sciatica is defined as an inflammation of the supporting tissues of the sciatic nerves of the leg, and it can cause pain running from the lumbar spine, the lower back region, to the legs. The sciatic nerve causes a lot of pain because it's the longest nerve in the body, starting at the back of the pelvis and runs down through the hip area and the buttocks into each leg. And as you mentioned, Joe, hip openers are great. And here are some more tips that you may find helpful. So a hot cold treatment is really good. Ice can reduce the inflammation, while the heat can encourage blood flow to the painful area. This will aid in healing. It would also be helpful to ease muscle spasms, this ice cold treatment. So what you do is apply an ice pack to the painful area for about 15 minutes once every hour, and then apply a heat to that same area for 15 minutes every 2 to 3 hours. So this can be really helpful. Also, Epsom salts in a bath. The warmth of the bath along with these salts will help relax the muscles, will help to reduce inflammation and swelling, and will help you to relax and unwind as well. Nutmeg mixed with some sesame seed oil in a pan can be really good. So you mix it in a pan until it turns brown, and then apply this to the area where the sciatic pain is occurring. And this can be really good for instant relief. Turmeric paste can also be good. So mixing turmeric with some sesame oil, you can take a teaspoon of turmeric, mix with some sesame oil to make a paste, and then massage that into the area. Of course, this is going to be messy with turmeric because it tends to stain everything. So if you are using a turmeric paste, make sure you're using some old towels and covering the area well. Now, the essential oils of ginger or peppermint can really have a soothing effect on pain, as they have anti-inflammatory properties and pain-relieving properties. So a few drops of essential oil in a carrier oil and then apply it to the area. Now, I would recommend the ginger essential oil for vata, kapha dominant dosha, and peppermint, which is cooling for pitta. Avoiding pitta aggravating foods, which can promote inflammation, so like nightshades, sour foods, and fried foods. And yoga, like you mentioned, Joe, hip openers are great. Also like a knee to chest pose, a slight back bend, plow pose. All those are really great. And some light exercise can be really beneficial at this time. But of course, the emphasis on light, nothing too intense. So Joe, I hope those tips are helpful for you. Okay, so now a request from Anne, and Anne asked about arthritis, asking for an older person, and in particular rheumatoid arthritis. And I'm also going to add Kathy's request in here. She asked about hip pain and joint pain. So let me first of all explain rheumatoid arthritis, and then I'm going to give tips for both those conditions, the arthritis and the hip pain and joint pain. So rheumatoid arthritis, or RA, is an autoimmune disease that most commonly affects the joints of the hands, the feet, the wrists, the elbows, the knees, and ankles. With an autoimmune disease, it definitely requires professional guidance. And I just published a podcast actually with Dr. Sujata on autoimmune disorders. So that might be of interest to you. It was episode number 124. But in the meantime, here are some natural pain relieving treatments. So the heat cold treatment that I mentioned earlier for sciatic pain is really good here. Applying the ice pack to the painful area for 15 minutes, once every hour, and then apply the heat compress for 15 minutes every 2-3 hours. So alternating hot cold treatments. Turmeric and fresh ginger are great anti-inflammatory spices. So adding these into your food is really beneficial. Lemongrass essential oil is really known to be beneficial with RA as it has anti-inflammatory properties. And you could mix this with a carrier oil and massage it into the affected area. Thyme, the spice, has also been found to be beneficial because it has anti-inflammatory properties and it can be really therapeutic for rheumatoid arthritis. So using thyme in your food or thyme essential oil mixed with a carrier oil, massaging it into the area or adding it to your bath. And castor oil is often used as a topical treatment for arthritic discomfort as it helps to prevent inflammation. So making a paste with some castor oil and some turmeric and rubbing it into the area, again, turmeric stain, so covering that with a towel. You could then put a hot compress on top of that, like a hot water bottle, for about 10 minutes or longer. If the heat is too much, remove it as it may be aggravating pitta. You could also do a daily Abhyanga massage with warm oil appropriate for your constitution. So like a sesame oil for vata or a sunflower oil for pitta and kapha. Epsom salts in your bath after your oil massage would be really helpful. And yoga for rheumatoid arthritis is really helpful. So very gentle postures like a forward bend, child's pose, warrior pose. You could do a bridge, and something like legs up the wall can be very beneficial also. So ladies, I hope those tips help. Okay, moving on to Marimar, who wanted to know about back pain. Well, Marimar, when it comes to back pain, you have to, of course, make sure that it's not a serious injury, or maybe it's an imbalance, and, an Ayurvedic consultation could help determine this. And a vata imbalance can generally lead to back pain because that's the seat of vata in the body, in the hips and the lower lumbar spine. So an aggravated vata can certainly cause lower back pain. So some tips are, well, first of all, there's an oil used in Ayurveda specifically for pain relief, and it's called Mahanaryan oil. That's Mahanarayan. And this is very effective. Massaging that into the area can be really good. If you don't have access to that oil, you could make a paste with ginger powder, half a teaspoon of ginger powder with some water or some oil, and massage that into the area, leaving it on for about 10 to 15 minutes. After an oil treatment like that, it could be really helpful to take a bath. You could also add more ginger powder to the bath. So you could add a half a cup of ginger powder and half a cup of baking soda to your bath. And this can be really beneficial for back pain, and doing that about 2 to 3 times a week. Turmeric and fresh ginger, we know now that they are great anti-inflammatories. So adding those into your food. And then doing some very gentle yoga. Okay, you have to be really careful here for back pain, but child's pose, knee to chest, plow pose if it's not too uncomfortable, a gentle spinal twist, and of course corpse pose. So they can be really great, using lots of props in your yoga practice to support you. And of course, following a Vata pacifying diet and lifestyle, having a really good routine, cooked foods with lots of, good quality fats, avoiding sour and pungent foods, and avoiding too much travel, too much sensory stimulation. Following those Vata pacifying diet and lifestyle tips would be really great. So I hope that helps, Marimar. Okay, next for a request from Anita. And Anita asks about a condition called trigeminal neuralgia. So, trigeminal neuralgia can cause severe pain in the cheek, the jaw, the forehead, sometimes in the eyes, the eye area, with the teeth, and generally on one side of the face. Sometimes it can be both sides. Now, this severe pain can last for seconds to several minutes. And in Ayurveda, it's usually associated with aggravated Vata. So, it's really important to have a Vata pacifying diet and lifestyle, but also calming practices like a Abhyanga oil massage with sesame oil. Doing it all over the body could be really calming. Doing meditation, pranayama, like alternate nostril breathing, yoga postures to open up the front of the body like cobra or camel pose or bow pose. And heat can sometimes relieve the pain for some people, using like a hot water bottle or a hot compress on the painful area. And so for some people, applying pressure to the area. Now, I know sometimes the gentlest touch can cause the pain, but for some people, applying pressure to the painful area can relieve the pain using your hand and pressing it on the area. So Anita, I hope those tips help. I would highly recommend focusing on pacifying Vata, because that is usually the culprit when it comes to this sort of pain. Okay, the next request is for Maria, and Maria wanted to know about neck tensions. So, Maria, neck tension can result from many reasons. Could be improper posture, dosha aggravation, but here are some tips that will help with neck tension no matter what the cause. So a castor oil pack or coconut oil pack is really good here. So the castor oil is really beneficial as an anti-inflammatory, and castor oil I would recommend if you have a Vata or Kapha constitution, and I would recommend switching up to coconut oil if you have a Pitta constitution. And I will put a link to a castor oil pack instruction guide in the show notes, and that will give you a guide on how to make this castor oil or coconut oil pack, but very beneficial for neck tension. A turmeric or ginger powder paste can be really effective and easy treatment for neck tension. So you could take half a teaspoon of turmeric or half a teaspoon of ginger powder to some oil or water and apply it to your neck. That can be really beneficial. I would leave it on for about 30 minutes and then wash it off. Using fresh ginger in your food or fresh ginger tea. Apple cider vinegar is an excellent home remedy to treat a stiff neck. So the antioxidants and anti-inflammatory agents present in apple cider vinegar is known to give relief from stress and muscle pain. So soak a washcloth in some apple cider vinegar and place that on your neck for about 30 minutes or longer, and repeat that at least twice a day. Applying the hot and cold compress that I detailed earlier is really good. You could also massage the area with a little bit of peppermint or lavender. So adding either of those oils to a carrier oil and massage it to the area. So peppermint would be really good for Pitta, and then lavender would be really good for Vata. And you could use either oil for if you have a Kapha dominant dosha. You could take a warm bath with some Epsom salts. That's really great for relieving tension in the muscles. And meditation and pranayama to calm the body, release tension, really good. And again, you'll find guidance for what pranayama to use for each dosha and how to do it in that pranayama tutorial video I'll link in the show notes. And just some very gentle yoga stretches to release your neck can be really good. Important not to force the neck or push it too far. So really listening to your body. Okay, Maria, I hope that helps. Okay, I have two more to cover. The next one is from Julie, and she wanted to cover fibromyalgia pain. So fibromyalgia is a disorder that causes pain, stiffness, tenderness, and fatigue in the muscles of specific parts of the body. It could be in the neck, it could be in the shoulders, the back, the hips, the arms, and the legs. So in Ayurveda, it can be a result due to aggravated Vata dosha. And here are some general guidelines to ease this discomfort. The first thing would be to follow a Vata pacifying diet and lifestyle. Abhyanga oil massage daily with sesame oil can be really beneficial. A half a teaspoon of turmeric powder with warm water 2 times per day helps to reduce the pain and inflammation in fibromyalgia. So just taking a half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, adding it to some warm water and having that 2 times a day. Ginger tea is really great, fresh ginger tea, for its pain relieving qualities. Garlic can also be beneficial to enhance the immune system, so adding some garlic into your food would be great. And some restorative yoga and meditation, pranayama like alternate nostril breathing or deep belly breathing. Really important when you're experiencing pain to make sure you have these calming mindfulness practices to help you. Okay, Julie, I hope that helps. Finally, Gordo. Gordo wants to know about toothache. Well, for toothache, there's a few things that can be really beneficial. First, it's clove oil. It's one of the best oils for toothache because it has a numbing effect. And you can take 2 to 3 drops of clove oil in a half a teaspoon of coconut oil or olive oil. And if you don't have a clove essential oil, just take 2 cloves and grind it in a mortar and pestle with about half a teaspoon of oil, and soak a small piece of cotton in this mixture and then apply it to the affected area and repeat once a day. Also, ginger and cayenne pepper, when mixed together, can work very well. So you could take a half a teaspoon of ground ginger and half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper with 3 drops of olive or coconut oil and put that on a cotton ball or a cotton pad and apply it for about 10 to 15 minutes. And you could repeat this 1 or 2 times per week. So that cayenne is quite heating. But if you're up for it, that could be a good mixture. Now, if you have a high pitta constitution, maybe staying away from the cayenne and the clove. And I probably recommend this one for you because it would be less aggravating. A peppermint essential oil is really good because it has a numbing effect. And just taking 3 drops of a peppermint essential oil in 3 drops of, again, coconut or olive oil, soak some cotton in this mixture and place it on the painful area for about 10 to 15 minutes and repeat as required. Now, if you don't have this peppermint essential oil, you could just take a peppermint tea bag, soak it in some water, and put it in the refrigerator and then apply this to the painful area and leave it on for about 20 minutes. And this would be really good for someone who has a high pitta constitution and wants to stay away from the heating clove and cayenne and ginger powders. Also rinsing your mouth with some sea salt and turmeric, really beneficial. So taking half a teaspoon of sea salt and half a teaspoon of turmeric and put it in a cup of water and then rinse your mouth with this water mixture for about 30 seconds, flushing out the infected area and then spitting it out and repeating this 1 or 2 times per day. And finally, I think oil pulling will be really beneficial here. It should be part of your daily self-care practices anyway, but it's great for relieving toothache because it detoxes the mouth and will help remove the infection. So this is really great. And what you could do is just take a teaspoon of the coconut oil or sesame oil and swish that around in your mouth, pulling it between your teeth for about 5 to 10 minutes and then discarding it out into a bin. Could be really beneficial. So Gordo, I hope that helps. So there you go. Lots of tips, and I hope it brings you some pain relief. And as you can see, a lot of these conditions are a result of aggravated Vata. So we all need to be aware of pacifying Vata at this time as we navigate this COVID-19 crisis. So really important, we'll all probably experience some Vata aggravation. And taking time to bring in some Vata balancing foods and lifestyle and routines right now, so important. If you have some quick questions, please take advantage of my 15-minute free online call. There we can connect and I can offer you some advice, or if you have some questions about my services, I'm still offering the online consults and the at-home cleanses. And I want to remind you about the discounted Daily Habits for Holistic Health course, the self-paced 28-day course, which gives lots of guidelines on how to maintain balance physically and mentally, and lots of education to empower you to take care of yourself at this time. So check out that link in the show notes, or just visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and go to the events tab, where you'll find the link to that limited time discount for that online course. I'll also add the following links to the show notes: the pranayama breath practice video tutorial, the golden milk recipe, and the castor oil and coconut pack instructions. So please take good care of yourself at this time. You want to make your health a priority right now, eating well, living in tune with the circadian rhythms, getting lots of sleep, but not too much sleep for you, Kapha, even though I know you probably want it. For Kapha has to avoid too much sleep, because that can bring on too much heaviness and lethargy and may go into that tamasic mindset. So Kapha, you get up early, don't oversleep, and healthy, nourishing, immune boosting foods at this time. So again, if you have any quick questions, reach out, take advantage of that free 15-minute online call, or go to my website if you want to book an online consult with me, where I can tailor the advice to you. And I also have that Daily Habits course for you, which is discounted right now. So please be kind to yourself at this time. Practice self-compassion and compassion for those around you as we all try to navigate these unusual times. Take good care of yourself. Prioritize your health and well-being at this time, and be gentle with yourself. And until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and ciao for now.